All right, so we're going to go over the Chapter 1 practice test. I'm going to put my name on my paper. Okay, so I try to put the points value for everything. All right, this kind of helps. I know some people will calculate how many they can miss and still make a certain grade. I know how that goes. All right, so for part one on A is identify the parent function. Okay, this one's linear. This one's quadratic. This one's absolute value. Okay, those are your only three choices right now. Okay, so you got a 33% chance of getting these right. Now, on number one, this is a linear. Remember, linear looks like this. All right, we have a value and a K value. So we have a stretch of 5 and then up 2. Now, on the directions, it says describe the transformation including the units. Okay, so this makes you know that you had to put the number there. Okay, your quadratic. Remember, this is what that formula looks like. All right. Luckily, we don't have an H right here because H is the one that's really confusing. You might need to know that for another question. Okay, so this has an A. 4 is greater than 1. So we have a stretch of 4. And this goes down 6. Okay. And then, all right. That's the rule. When I move the picture, I have to make the sound. All right. So, and your absolute value looks like this. All right. We don't have an A, so we're not going to have this. Now, it does have an H. Our value of this is the opposite of what's given. This is given as a minus 3. So our H value is actually positive 3. All right. So because it's positive, this goes to the right 3. I have a K value of 5, so I go up 5. Now, again, on the test, you can write the arrows, you can write the word. Okay, either one is okay. Now, a few people have already pointed out some stuff on some problems that there are some typo issues. We will approach those when we get there. All right. So we all kind of okay on part one. Okay. All right. Moving on. All right. Wow. Just fill in the blank questions on a math test. What the French toast. Okay. So this says of the three of the following, AHK, which is the most confusing to understand, you should put H. Okay. Because that is the one that is the most confusing. All right. A vertical stretch is the same thing as, okay, a horizontal shrink. Okay, because remember, it's when you stretch it out, it squeezes it in a little bit. You could also say horizontal compress. Yes. A vertical stretch is the same as a horizontal shrink. A vertical compression is the same as a horizontal stretch. Yeah, it's think about it this way. Vertical is the opposite of horizontal. So if you stretch something vertically, you shrink it horizontally. If you compress something vertically, you stretch it horizontally. So a lot of backwards things. Yeah, they really are. All right, now number 6, a reflection at the x-axis changes the A and K values. Oh, I got that right. Good job. Small victories. Okay. Now, a little bit better with these 3 problems. They're not going to be the same 3 questions on the other 2 tests. Okay. They might be something similar.
What's the least confusing letter?
No, I might say, why is H the most confusing to understand?
Why?
Yeah, why? Because it uses the opposite sign.
It's also used opposite sign if it's just parentheses or only an absolute.
The whole time you see a H, parentheses, absolute value, everything. All right. So, part 3. All right. This is stuff that we had the other day that I cleared up yesterday because I'm still learning. Now, translated 3 units up, that's our K value. So we actually are just going to add 3 to this. Our answer is just going to be 2x minus 4 because minus 7 plus 3 is negative 4. Okay. Now, number 8 probably seemed a little confusing because you're like, wait, it already has a vertical stretch, but we're stretching it again. Yes. Just like me when I was putting on the extra small shirt yesterday, we stretched it as much as we could. So all we really have to do right here is multiply 2 times 3 or 3 times 2.
Why?
And that's it.
Wait, what?
Why? Because you're still vertically stretching it. Okay, so we're taking this and multiplying it by 2.
So vertical stretch is a multiplication.
Yep. All right. Number 9 is directly correlated to one of the questions that we had in part 2 where it says this is reflected about the x-axis. That means we're going to take this number, multiply it by negative 1, not that number because that's a h, and this and multiply it by negative 1. So instead of having positive 3, we're not going to have negative 3. What's right here doesn't change. It's the 2. It was at the 5 first, and then I moved it. And then negative 2 times negative 1 is a positive 2. Okay? Just changing our A and K values. All right? When it's reflected at the y-axis, you change the sign right here of our h values. Okay, that's it. When it's reflected about the y, you just flip it over. All right, so now this one, instead of being x minus 8, it's actually x plus 8 squared plus 8. Okay, and I put the g of x on there just because I don't want, that's not the thing I'm testing on. I'm not testing on can you rename it g of x. I'm testing on can you give me the right equation. Okay, you could go to multiple different online stuff, type this in, and it will graph it for you. You don't have to name it h of x, g of x, or anything. Okay. All right. So a little bit better with that if you got kind of bogged down right here. Okay. I understand what it means to get bogged down and stuck. I'm the world's worst of getting equipment stuck at the farm. That's why they don't let me come after it's been raining a whole lot. When you get a bulldozer stuck, they're like, okay, you need to stop. Yeah. I didn't get it stuck. It just kind of died on me, and yeah, it's okay. Yep. All right. Are we good through 7 through 10 so I can move on? Anybody need more time? All right. So number 11 is kind of a repeat of what we had a while ago. Now we're translating this as something different than a linear. We're still going, all right, this is going down, so all I got to do is subtract 5 right here. This doesn't change. And 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Okay.
So in translation, you're only going to be messing with the K value?
Which translation? Up or no? They're all translations. It's up or down.
Okay, so down you're only doing.
Yeah, down you subtract from the K. If I was to move it up, we would add to the K. Okay? Okay. All right. Now, this is reflected at the x-axis. We only have an a and a k value. Basically, we're going to take everything, multiply it by -1. It's the opposite signs. So we have minus 2x plus 7. And Sully, I think I told you wrong on number 14. That is not typo, right? That is not a typo. I just screwed up what I said.
So we're not multiplying the -7.
Wait, what?
You said right here we're multiplying -1 to the 2.
To the 2x and to the -7. So it was a positive 2x. Now it's negative 2x. It was a minus 7. Now it's a positive 7. Okay. There you go.
Wait, so if you're expecting the y-axis and you like flip the sign, do you flip it with your x-axis too?
You only change the sign of a h value. You won't have one of these on the test. I'm not going to give you one of these on the test that says reflected over the y-axis because it's too freaking confusing. You're going to have one that's either a quadratic or absolute value. So you just change that sign that's either in the bars or the parentheses. Okay. Now, let's say, for instance, you're feeling really good about this stuff. You come in really prepared. I give you the test, and all of a sudden your mind goes blank. Are you allowed to ask questions on the test? Yes, it's encouraged. Okay, now if you ask me about every step, I might have to start charging you.
Wait, one more question. Why is it positive something?
Because a negative times a positive is a negative, and then a negative times a negative is a positive. You guess. All right. So, a horizontal stretch. A horizontal stretch is the same thing as a vertical compress. All right. Now, if it's a compress, that means we're going to, instead of using 5, it's actually 1/5. Okay. And that's supposed to be an absolute value bar of x plus 5.
So with that, you're going to put in the a?
Yep. Because remember, A's do our reflection and x-axis are stretched or shrink and compress. All right. Now, is a horizontal shrink it too? I've got to double check to make sure. I don't know if I had this as like, I can't remember if I had a horizontal shrink of 1/2 yesterday on the notes. I can't remember the tan paper. I think we did that should be a 1/2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yes, Sully, I told you right. I don't know. I'm second guessing myself. This should actually be a 1/2. Okay, this should actually be a 1/2. All right, so what's the reciprocal of 1/2? 2. So we just put a 2 right here. All right. Okay, are we good here? Do we need to stay a little bit longer? Any more questions?
Why is it 1/2?
I should have wrote it as 1/2. I forgot that when I was doing this yesterday that we were using the reciprocals right here. So when it says a horizontal stretch of 5, it's actually a vertical compression of the reciprocal. This should actually be a horizontal shrink of 1/2, which is a vertical stretch of 2. Yeah. For all those that are yawning, I'm feeling you, dude. All right. Moving on. All right, the table below. Now, when this says what type of function I need to write this better. This is, it should be write an equation. Okay. So luckily for this, okay, this is our b right here. So we already have our stuff for the y equals mx plus b. We could actually say y equals, and then I can put plus 18. Okay, now look at your slope right here. How is this changing? By 20. Yeah, you really wouldn't even have to use the slope formula for this. For this one right here in particular, because it is a constant change right there. Okay, when we had to do something different, with the triangles and stuff yesterday, I think we used the triangle. This would actually be part 4. That we had to do something. This one actually is. So I'm going to say it's right here. Now, our y is going down. Should I change that to a minus 18 or a plus 18? Probably a minus. Nope, it should be a plus 18. This should be a minus because our y's are changing. Because if I did this, let's see. Let's use this one right here, these two. So 16 minus 18 over... I could have told y'all wrong that we didn't have to do this formula. I'm ready to go to bed.
I'm confused.
Same.
These confuse me the most.
Running off 2 hours.
Running on 2 hours of sleep. All right. Is it the chart that confuses you the most or the graph?
Everything? Everything.
Everything. All right. Yesterday we had the graph and it was easy to find the slope and you could find the y-intercept and that was easy, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I need to make these problems more like the lesson yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So just mark it out.
Yep.
What was the answer though?
So just mark through it? Wait, mark through part 4?
No, don't mark it.
No, just mark through that problem.
Oh.
Because I did something different, but I still got 1 over 10. Yeah, I got that too.
Okay. And when you typed in 90, let's see, that should be negative 1 over 10 times 90 plus 18. So that should have been, did you get 9 for the B part?
Yeah, but I got negative 9. I was confused. It's not just-
When you multiply 1/10, negative 1/10 by 90,
Yeah, I got negative 9.
okay, you should get negative 9.
Right.
Okay, but when you add 18,
Oh.
you get a positive.
I didn't add 18.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
All right. So, let's see if we can do this better, especially on Mr. Jeffrey's end. Can you use the triangle to find your slope right here? Yeah.
Oh, that's how you do it, right?
I don't know if that's being sarcastic or if that's being
No,
a true
like
question.
Yeah.
Okay, so to go from 2 to 5, it looks like we went over 3. To go from 30 to 45 looks like we went up 15. So M would be 15 over 3, which is 5. All right, so we already have that. Y equals 5x. What is our y-intercept? 20. Okay, our y-intercept is 20 because it touches right here on that y-axis. That's why I grabbed this one. This is probably more like the one that you'll see tomorrow. Okay, I will find more like it. And then it says estimate the cost of 8 hours. So you would say 5 times 8 plus 20. This is 40 plus 20.
Where did you get the 20 from?
All right.
On the 20, it ends up at 29.
Yeah, the 20. This is the Y. See how it's the Y-axis?
Yeah.
And it starts right there. So that's where it crosses the Y-axis. So that's our B.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Mm-hmm. I heard someone say I did it. And it's somebody I hadn't heard say anything.
Where does the 60 come from?
I just pulled it out of the air. No. On the B part, it says estimate the cost of 8 hours. So that means if I take this equation and plug in 8 right here. Okay. Well, what's 5 times 8? 40. Yeah, you can use your calculator. What's 40 plus 20? 60. That's where the 60 came from. How many of y'all did not see this second question? At least one person's being honest. There's more people's like, there was a B. Okay. All right. Say it again. What did I use the triangle for what?
To get 50 over 3, right?
I could have, but I saw this point right here. I just used this triangle because those are two definite points that caught my eye first. I didn't use this one, which would have been the same thing if I went over 2 up 30. Okay. It's okay. All right. I wanted to use those 2 points right there. All right. So for the linear modeling, y'all need more clear directions, more clear graphs, right? Yes?
Yeah, right.
All right. That's an easy fix. Yeah. All right. Now, this is the actual part 5, and some of you were like, I don't know how to do this. When did we cover it? Well, we hadn't. Okay, the reason why we're actually going to save this for later is because we can when we go over matrices, this lends itself to do matrices. It's really easy to do with the matrices. It's using a calculator. It's awesome. Okay, technically, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm still covering it, but I'm covering, and I don't want to be redundant. Now, this is all you have to do. What is the easiest variable to eliminate? This one actually has 2 answers. You could either eliminate the X or you could eliminate the Y. That's the goal. Okay? By combining which equations? If I combine the top and the middle, that's what I need to know. Okay? So if you would have said X and then top and middle, you would have got it right. If you would have said Y and top and middle, you would have also got it right. If you would have said Z and top and bottom, you would have got it wrong. Okay? We want the easiest fix. Okay? Some of y'all are trying to make this a lot harder than it has to be. Stop it. Don't make me start naming names. You'll be on.
Gonna be on the test?
Yep.
Seriously?
He lied.
Okay. All right. Look at number 18. We're looking into it deeply. I'm looking for the same terms, different signs. Which one pops out at me? Yeah. Which is the easiest one to eliminate? This would be X. By combining which 2 equations? Middle and bottom. And the reason why, if you look at this, you don't have to multiply any of this by anything. You can combine and the X's will cancel really easy. Now, when I'm saying easiest, I mean you don't have to multiply anything. You just, there it is. They're automatically same number, different signs. Okay? All right, 19. Now, remember, I'm saying easiest. This means no multiply at all.
Y? No, Z. Yeah, that.
Okay? This would be Z. Which two equations? Middle and bottom. Because they're the same terms, different signs. Okay? All right, so I want to turn off from this. Good stuff, good things, roll tide.